Hi everyone, I'm very happy to represent UNICEF Hong Kong as one of the voluntary school speakers and tell you guys more about water, sanitation, and children today. Before starting our topics, I would first like to introduce our organization, UNICEF Hong Kong. As you can see, the logo first includes parents and kids. Our organizations mainly serve children and parents. At the same time, you also see an earth, which represent that UNICEF provides service worldwide, regardless of presence of national committee at one place. Moving on, you see the olive branch, which is a representation of peace. We believe that children should grow in a peaceful environment. And this is UNICEF Hong Kong. UNICEF was established in 1946 with the aim to support children affected by World War II. The full name of UNICEF is United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund. But in 1953, UNICEF's name was changed into United Nations Children's Fund. Again, the aim is to advocate and promote children's rights at a global level. So you may wonder, who exactly fall under the group of children? According to the Conventions on the Right of the Child, Article 1 from the United Nations, children are anyone under 18 years old. Unfortunately, I'm already 21 years old, so I don't classify myself as part of children. And it is very important to note that as long as you're 18 years old, you are part of children. And this is regardless of races, colors, genders, health conditions, religions, cultures. As we are now aware of the definition of children, what are the rights a children entitled to? There are 54 articles of children's rights, as stipulated in the United Nations Convention on the Right of the Child, so as to ensure every child could grow up healthy. We may categorize the articles into 4 children's rights, namely, right to survival, right to protections, right to development, and right to participations. As you can tell by the name right to survival, what comes up to your mind? Air, water, food, shelter. We believe that children should be entitled to the right to survival, so they have the basic necessity in order to survive. In the same way, children should be entitled to right to protections. Most of us are taken care of by our parents, our grandparents, or our domestic helpers. They always take care of us, and we are often protected. Apart from right to survival and right to protections, right to development is more personal. It's about your dream, it's about what you want to do in the futures. Likely, children are also entitled to right to participations. For example, you could think of what kind of issues you wanted to discuss with your parents or guardian. For example, when you're listening to this presentation, you might think about children's rights and whether you actually have been enjoying these rights. So I've just told you guys about the 4 different rights, and you may now wonder, well, why is it important? This is because children have the right to receive protections and care from parents and your guardians. But it is very important to note that when you are enjoying your ride, you have to make sure that you respect others because you have to put yourself into others' shoes. Therefore, you also have the responsibility to fulfill as a son or daughter. For example, when your parents are taking care of you, you should behave and respect them accordingly. This also applies to siblings. Therefore, UNICEF works to take care of children's, no matter from the perspective of education, health, and social inclusions. So once the baby is born, UNICEF strives to take care of children till 18 years old. UNICEF Hong Kong works in both fundraising and education to empower children to be entitled to the rights. And today, we will be exploring with Bill of Rights so that we can know more about the condition of children living in different places through different texts and pictures. If you were to choose, would you choose 1 or 2? I guess the answer is pretty obvious because the water in 2 is not clean. It is yellowish and you probably are not sure whether it is clean for consumptions. But what if I tell you for now you only have number 1 and number 2 to choose? Which one would you choose? It's kind of difficult, right? For many kids in the developing countries, this is very common because it is very unlikely for them to have access of clean water. However, water is very important. Just now, I was telling you guys about one of the children's rights, which is right to survival. Water is very important as 70% of our human body is water. It is also very important for our health as it regulates the temperatures of human body. Water is also so important for daily life, such as cleaning, washing, and cooking. So now, going for the global situation, I would like you guys to watch this video and think, how far are you willing to go for a glass of clean water?
Water, would you like to get some water? Really good prices. Water? Excuse me? Are you interested in water, madam? Hi there. This is water from Somalia.
How much is this one?
That one's 20 kilometers. This one that's 10 kilometers. Children in Somalia are having to walk 10 kilometers to get water, sometimes in drought up to 50 kilometers. So you need to walk 30 kilometers for this water. Are you interested?
No, I'm not.
So are you interested? Doesn't look like I'm selling any water today. This is my first customer. Would you like to go for the 1 kilometer water?
Okay.
He's got 2 kilometers to travel. 200 meters so far. Fortunately, you haven't traveled far enough.
I'm so dying for this water. I finished. Yes!
So now you can have the water.
Oh, thank you so much.
Well done for getting it. You should always check the ingredients. Cholera,
Typhoid.
hepatitis A.
Not good?
Those are all deadly diseases.
It is dangerous.
Are you happy drinking this water?
No.
Water?
So after watching the video, I would like you guys to have a guess. How many people still have no access to clean water globally? Unfortunately, 660 million of people have no access to clean water. That is like 80 times of the Hong Kong total populations. Second question, how many people are still consuming unfiltered water sources globally? Unfortunately, again, 160 million people are unfortunately still consuming unfiltered water sources, meaning they have no access to clean water. This is particularly bad in Africa, where 2 out of 5 Africans do not have access to clean water. Now that we will be traveling around with the reporters so as to see more about the situation in the world. 2 major causes of lack of clean waters is first natural and second of all human. In a lot of places, climate change is a big factor because when there is a long period without rain and at the same time when there is a high temperature, there is a lack of water in air and soil. In this way, plants cannot grow. Especially for places that are distant from water resources, like inland areas. It is very difficult for them to have water supply. And the onshore wind often brings rainwater all the way to the coastal areas, so there is a lack of balance of water supply in both coastal and inland areas. Second of all, due to human factor, the population growth has been tremendous. Now that 1.7 billion people live near the river, causing overconsumption of water resources. When people living near the river already consume so much water, you could wonder the lack of water available for people living in inland areas. At the same time, with rapid economic development and urbanizations, production activities such as agriculture, manufacturing, and constructions are highly dependent on water resources. Just like in coastal and rural areas, there is a severe urban-rural divide and differences, where usually urban areas have access to clean water and people living in rural areas that do not. And a lot of the time it has to do with poverty. Almost 1/3 of those who are wealthy in the areas with water shortage can only have water supply with their residential premises by linking a pipe so water can be transferred to their apartment. So now I would like to also ask you a question. The current global population is about 7.6 billion. How many of them are consuming unsafe drinking water? Yes, 2.5 billion people are still very unfortunate. And we see the shortage of water resources when almost 4,000 children die of waterborne diseases every day. Looking at the water tape and the toilet flushing, We often take it for granted because this is always available in our campus or at home. However, every time when we open the tap or flush the toilet for 2 minutes, this is the average time the kid can use in Africa. Thinking about it, could you imagine the problem of water shortage in developing countries? Now we will study a few cases. First of all, we will start off with India. As you guys probably have heard of India, India is located in Asia and is the second largest population in the world. It is actually very near to China. And the place is extremely hot with very high temperatures and uneven rainfall. With such extreme weathers, about 20,000 Indians die every year because of having no access to clean drinking water. At the same time, 65 million children under 5 years old are malnourished because they are not able to have enough food or water. At the same time, it causes great inconvenience to women especially, and even risk their life. This is because there are horrendous cases of rape happening at night, so women cannot go to toilet as regularly, but they can only go in the morning. A lot of children are also affected by polluted drinking water. The consequences can be huge when there is water resources shortage and poor sanitation conditions. It can lead to fever and diarrhea, a lot of diseases that make you unbearable and feel pain. I would like you guys to now watch the video and think about what life would be without water.
He, who, he, ha, le, lu, li, la.
Bạn chào. Cái gì đó
waxaan ayaan
Lacking water can have a tremendous impact on personal growth and development. Children will be unable to attend school because of collecting water, and there will be a lack of water for drinking and cleaning. There will also be a lack of sufficient toilets, and girls are forced to quit school after the onset of puberty. Witnessing the predicaments of people who have no access to water, UNICEF have been trying their very best to help. First of all, with this UNICEF WASH project, it helps to alleviate the water resources problem. So WASH stands for water, sanitation, and hygiene. Due to their interdependent nature, these three core issues are grouped together to represent a growing sector. Each is dependent on the presence of the others. For example, without toilets, water sources become contaminated. Without clean water, basic hygiene practices are not possible. Under the WASH project, UNICEF helps improve drinking water and public sanitation facilities in communities and schools. It also encourages people to change their hygiene habits. At the same time, it also provides emergency water aid in response to critical emergencies and provides safe, sustainable, and affordable drinking water. We also work to promote public health. For example, we have this Global Hand Washing Day to encourage and raise awareness of the importance of washing your hair. Amid the coronavirus outbreak, it is very important to wash your hand in order to wash away the germs and viruses. We believe that by cultivating good hand washing practices, it could help rescue 500,000 children per year. And we also help build child-friendly toilet and gender-friendly toilet. So it would be less embarrassing for them to go toilets. Also, it could help encourage enrollment and sustain attendance for girls. UNICEF also works to integrate schools with the community. When school toilets are also open for community, and residents and students can take turn to clean up so as to support each other for the betterment of health and cleanliness. So between 2007 and 2016, a total of 268 billion people have benefited from UNICEF Water Resources AIM projects. We also work with local schools in promoting sanitation education in more than 30 countries. In particular, 35.5 million people have gained access to toilets since 2014. What is more, 2.6 billion people have gained access to improved quality of drinking water since 1990. Today, 91% of the world's population drink clean water. Almost 200 million people also gained access to improved sanitation facilities since 1990. By 2030, we aim to achieve these goals. universal access to clean water supply, abolish relieving oneself in public, and eliminated unequal competitions for water resources. A recap of what we have learned so far. There are two factors leading to water resources shortage: natural and human. And there can be two major consequences caused by the lack of water, which are the water resources shortage and poor sanitation. You can always help by understanding ours and other needs. And just like the triangle, we always have to learn to respect others' rights and fulfill our own responsibilities. This is everything that everyone can do. You're also welcome to join UNICEF Hong Kong by liking our Facebook page, UNICEF Hong Kong and Gen Actions. We will be updating a lot of posts about children's rights and publicize our upcoming event. You're also welcome to donate. Thank you very much. Unite for Children, Achieving Zero. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope you have enjoyed and learned from the presentations.